Because when do I ever do things with low turn count? I probably could have done it in fewer turns if we all, like, committed to, like, if I hadn't sent that one squad up north, and if it had been, like, to that top left, like, northwest Dudo, maybe. That's what I could have done. Game is up, Myron. You'll pay for the pain you've caused. The pain I've caused? This is no children's story, Captain. Death is a daily occurrence. Why not benefit? Anyone mind if I finish the job before the evil speech? Please do. No, it should be me. Sloan, it doesn't have to be. Ah, my dear Sloan. Look how strong you've become. Only took the combined strength of your friends to best your dear old dad. You'll never be worthy of the name. Finally. Oh, did you... Is that what it was? Was that you killing him? Achievement unlocked, daddy issues. Wow. I've seen many brutal things. I will make the list. He deserved it. I'm proud of her. What is most difficult is sometimes most necessary. Come, the dawn is breaking. Our troops will be arriving soon. I feel like there should have at least been like a dialogue of him going like, "Gah!" and then fading out, kind of like a Fire Emblem kind of thing, instead of him just being like despawned and it's like, wait, is he dead? Oh, he's dead, you know? Let me clean this up. We'll be staying here for a couple days. I'm saying if you don't give a monster a proper burial, you risk it returning from the dead. They didn't teach us how to do this in Brookstead. No, they very much did not. You should check in on Sloan. She seems to have handled herself quite well. Can't say I know that's true. Either way, that's your job now, fearless leader. Do you ever plan on not annoying me? I've really been giving that some thought, actually. And no, I don't. Good to know some things never change. Alright, we made it to chapter 24, March on Sojourn. So we'll go ahead and save into that slot there. That was my plan. Sad music. Oh, this is a cool background. Hey, do you have a moment? Oh, sure. Is everything alright? You haven't seemed yourself since, you know. Sloan? Do you remember how they looked at you? What do you mean? After Sterling's death. As if I were about to burst into tears. Or flames. Right, hard to forget. I've been getting those looks since yesterday. It's making my skin crawl. I hate to say it, but you'll get used to it. That, or they'll forget. Maybe a bit of both. I know, but actually, that isn't really an issue for me most of the time. It's fine if you need some time. Gods know I did too. No, that's just it. I don't need time. I'm ready. They're all looking at me like I should be hurting. Like I should care that I just killed my father. But I don't. It means nothing to me. I feel nothing. Can't know how desperately I want to understand why you're looking at me that way right now. I guess I've just never had people who cared like this before. Surely your nurses cared for you. They cared for me, but they didn't care about me. Everyone around me has only ever seen me as a means to an end, and I think I've done the same. But I care about our friends. We're in uncharted territory, and I'm fighting every day not to lose sight of that. Look, I know this isn't my place to say, but your childhood did you every disservice it could have. Even in the time that I've known you, you've come such a long way. You don't unlearn 2 decades in 6 months.
I don't get it.
I know, but I still can't understand. What am I supposed to feel right now? I'm sorry, this was a mistake. Stop. This was not a mistake. To the abyss with how you're supposed to feel. You feel how you feel, and that's that. This is a better group to fight and grow with than I could have ever prayed for, but their expectations don't define you. They're going to come along at your own pace. I, for one, am impressed with how far you've come. Are you really? For all that I've known and been able to... Gosh darn that! For all that I've always been able to read people, you're like a slab of granite. I never know what you're thinking. Well, you aren't the only one that's built up walls. I found it's easier to break them down with help. So I keep hearing. But let me answer your question. Yes, I am impressed with how far you've come. Not long ago, you were this feisty, selfish thing yelling at us even after we rescued you. Now look at us. We're leading a revolution together. You're a central piece of it, and it has nothing to do with pushing a personal agenda. It's been a long journey, hasn't it? It has. I'm more than thankful that you're still along with us. We couldn't be doing this without you, and in many more ways than your political station. Thank you, Irving. I think I need someone to help walk me through this silly thing that... Not silly at all. You're human, even if you're only just now letting yourself realize that. I do like how it cycles between like the different options of like the backgrounds for loading screens. I think that's nice. Irving, I'm glad you could make it. Maeve wouldn't say a word without you present. Worried about what? Have you made a breakthrough? Not exactly, but I've received explicit permission from the Mystic Council to share what I know. I see. Go on then. My council, along with the Order of Eternals, was founded in the immediate aftermath of the calamity. Before the fall of the Empire, their members belonged to the same body, one that fulfilled a sort of combined purpose. It was called the Magisterium Arcana, and functioned as a sort of independent branch of the Imperial government. Its members were some of the most widely respected academics of the time, charged with the study, application, and protection of arcane objects. Why the Order of Eternals was formed specifically to account for the aspects, I do not know. Vesta, do you have any knowledge of this? Not specifically. I'm hoping whatever we receive back from the Order will help clarify that. Intriguing. Though I'm not quite sure how this relates to Achomenos or the staff. That's what I'm getting to. The grief-stricken sorcerer who created the staff did so just before the calamity, after which it was stolen by a student with divine ambitions. Divine ambitions? What do you mean? Irving, my goodness, my throat today! There's reason to believe the legends of the Age of Ascension are more than just stories. It seems some incredibly gifted mortals were actually able to obtain elevated levels of significance in the astral plane upon excelling in certain areas of life. Elevated levels of significance? It's true then, that each of the gods revered across Terraziel was once mortal like us? If gods is the term you ascribe to them, then yes. Then did this student succeed? Quite the opposite. He designed a ritual, which he called the Rite of Ascension, to realize his ambitions, but it went terribly wrong. I believe it may actually be linked to the cause of the calamity itself. And what do we know of this ritual? That seems to be the final piece missing in all this. The Mystic Council has no record of it, other than to say that knowledge is kept by the Order of Eternals. Vesta, does this spark anything in your memory? I know the Order has a highly restricted archive at Cosmere, but I've never had the cause to visit it. I've already pressed them for anything that might help. I suspect if my superiors know anything of it, I'll be the first to know. Cosmere. That name has been tied up in all this before. All the more reason so much depends upon receiving word from the Order. I suspect Achomenos could be of great service to us in answering these questions if he could be compelled to help us. I suspect you're right. Elias, are we any closer to tracking him down? Yes and no. What do you mean? On the one hand, I found him. That's great news. You should have said something. We should be able to employ his own devices to get him to share what he knows. Unfortunately, it's not so simple. He's learned a great deal about me from the time I spent inside his machinations. With his knowledge of my weaknesses, I don't think I'll be able to face him alone. The only viable strategy I can think of would be to lure him out of the staff somehow. I wouldn't even know where to begin doing that, and at the very least it would likely require his cooperation. So much hangs on a few things which grow more and more unlikely with each passing day. Let's each hope for a stroke of luck or inspiration, or both. At this point, direct confrontation with the Varric seems inevitable. I expect this knowledge will become essential soon. Things are heating up, aren't they? Things are certainly heating up. The odds have never been better, and there's no reason to believe they ever will be. The time to strike is now or never. Soyern is completely cut off from his arms and provisions. The majority of Delians are on our side. My contacts inform me soldiers on the road are already deserting in droves. Once word spreads that the Scourge of Almiron has been lifted from Canopy, every commoner east of the Dragon's Tail will be taking up arms to fight by our side. Even so, the question remains of how to take the city. A siege is the traditional choice, though with a city the size of Soyern, it would be rather difficult. Could we pull it off? If the garrison spreads itself as thin as we would to surround it, yes. But if they concentrated their forces, they'd surely be able to break through and reset the clock. Only the common people stand to lose in sieges. Even tyrants keep their soldiers warm and fed. Besides, we'd have to account for attrition on our side as well. A direct assault is the only viable option. Certainly, if we could defeat Varric, the city would fall. His command over his officers seems to be the only thing keeping his soldiers in service to him. Would our forces suffice to get us to the keep in a direct assault? I expect so, but we need to defeat Varric quickly to prevent them from getting surrounded and pelted from every direction. Time would not be on our side. We've raced the Sandglass and won before. A direct assault is the best choice for the people of Delia. If we do succeed in disposing Varric, we'll need their support to rebuild. Again, it seems we're destined to take the path most fraught with peril, but I must agree, this is what justice demands.
Follow me.
Lincoln, mobilize the troops for an assault as quickly as you can, and report back when we're ready. It's time to take this war back to the man who started it. So we're getting to this point, huh? We're getting there! Wow. Big stretch, and then I turn on my cameras again. And whatnot. Love how every NPC has a purpose other than armor unit. Yeah, that's Always nice seeing that. We have our first tier 4 token here. We do indeed have that. Best I can get her A support, it seems like. If you don't mind my saying so, I think that blade's as sharp as it's going to be. Hmm? Oh, yes, I know. Just a nervous habit of sorts. Something troubles you. Nothing beyond the obvious, really. The odds don't favor us, and so much has already been lost.
Take heart.
Irving, you cannot lose hope. You're the source of it for too many. Tell me then, what should be my source of hope? Hope is not some commodity like a mug of ale, diminished as it's passed from one to another. It is a defiant act of the will, and just one spark, your spark, is enough to set a city ablaze. So you're in a blaze. I think that's what I'm worried about. Do you remember what you told me after we rescued your mother? That it was a reminder for all of us of who we're fighting for. Not just some lofty idea, but real people. Mothers and sisters and sons. And friends too. You shouldn't have to look too far to be reminded of that. No, I don't. It's those sisters and sons who I'm worried about. If I could bring an end to this without shedding one more drop of blood, then you would, I know it. And it's good to know that your heart dwells on these people. Quite frankly, I'd be more concerned if it didn't, but you must not let that weaken your resolve. And what gives you hope then, Vesta Lamar? You, Irving. Please, I'm serious. I want to know. When I took this secret oath, I pledged my life to the Order of Eternals, to the protection and defense of the aspects against those who would use them for evil. Before you and your friends found me in my temple, the Order was failing that charge. I would not have succeeded in my defense, or even escaped with my life, without your aid. But when I saw Orima again, and met all of you, when I saw the bonds formed across borders and birthrights, I thought there might be a chance to actually put a stop to this evil. Once again, I had hope. We knew so much less than we know now. I was surprised we would have that effect. And still do, Irving. There's so many, not just all of us here. Take solace in that. And we'll try. If we're idle, destruction will not be slowed. That much is certain. Which is why we must not be. The gods have blown a wind in our sails. A time has come to raise the anchor and use it. If Ford heard using a nautical metaphor, please don't tell him. I won't. Thank you, Vesta. You're an inspiration to each of us. May it bring the gods glory, and Terraziel justice. I'd settle for that. Alrighty, Irving has another a couple new A supports, it seems like. Marin, I have to imagine there's some course I missed out on, where they teach you how to overthrow a tyrannical king. Not even close, but maybe you could teach it someday. That day's a long way off, if it even exists. Maybe. Are you ready to take this fight to the top? I'm not getting any more ready standing around talking about it, but if it's what the others expect of me, what do you expect of yourself? I don't know. I'd say to deliver justice to those who've suffered loss, but that seems so impossible now. You're right. That would be impossible. We don't deliver justice by what we destroy. We do that by what we build. Those are the words of a healer if I've ever heard them. And were you expecting anything else? No. In fact, I think that's just what I was looking for. And then I'm happy to oblige. Maybe all I expect of myself is to leave it all on the battlefield. That way the rest is up to fate, or friends, or perhaps some combination of both. That's not a poor demand, but you'll never achieve it if you see it as a way to escape responsibility. You'll only do it if you allow it to become your responsibility. That sounds right. I'll try and think of it that way. Marin, do you remember what you said to me before about how much can happen in a year? Of course. Well, if you'd have told me a year ago where we'd be today, I'd never have believed you. Nothing's quite as unbelievable as life itself. That couldn't be any more true. It gives me hope too, that we might yet see an unbelievable victory. We might, but even if we don't, you'll never face another trial alone. All of us with you, no matter what threats we face. I know I'll be right there every step of the way. You do have a good record of that. I can't think of any reason to change that now. Good, neither can I. Alright, and we have an A support here as well. You've walked a long road since you started sending sketches of strange stones to a well-traveled elf friend. Yes, it has been a long road for both of us. But a soldier is made for the road. And what is a princess made for then? I wouldn't claim to know. Sitting around looking pretty until she's married off, or waiting for a chance to make big decisions about the world from somewhere high and far away. I didn't say that.
Surely not.
Maybe that's what some princesses are made for, but I never was. No, you've always led from the ground, side by side with those who would follow. Reminds me of a certain little boy I know. I guess we were both trained well. One way or another, that's something I've noticed recently. Life has a way of making up for lost training. Somewhat harshly, I might add. True, but we all come out the better for it. Assuming we come out at all. It's worth noting that we have so far. I see promise in that. I do too. There's no way around any of it, really. After all those drills, I thought the Academy would prepare us for all the trials we'd face. In some ways, it has. and in other ways it never could. That's to be expected. A life well lived demands the heart of a student, and obedience to that heart. A higher obedience, no? Yes, and one I could commit to at that. Indeed, so could I. Do we have some more supports here? Seems like, you don't have to pay me anymore. Oh? Was I still paying you? I'd hardly noticed. Though I can't fathom why on terror you'd go and make a volunteer of yourself. With what you're capable of, you could charge a lot more to the right buyer. I'm not looking for the right buyer. Shoot yourself? Suit yourself. That is like one of the worst freaking mess ups in speaking I've ever made. Wow. Do not. My goodness. There's more to life than gold, Monroe. Unfortunately, you're right. Far more. It's all rather complicated. Not the way I see it. Do consider sharing some of your immense wisdom with me, Lady Maynard. What we're doing is hard. These challenges are more difficult than anything most of us have faced. Were we taking this on personal gain alone? Well, we likely all would have given up by now. There are easier ways to earn some coin. But we're doing this for each other. I don't mean just our friends either. We're doing this for all of Delia, and then some. Noble. Though I'd say there's still plenty I stand to gain from this. Sure, Monroe. But is that the only reason you're still here? The only reason you saw potential in this group? Well, I suppose I'm not sure. Whatever you stand to gain. Glory, new titles, gold. If Eric could promise it all to you for the small price of turning us over to him, would you do it? Of course not. And why is that? He has to pay for what he's done. Then you do care about justice. Eric's been a thorn in my father's side since he assumed the throne. My family's better off without him. I see. Well, I guess I'm starting to see our new friends as family now. Our new friends as family now. Maybe that's the best way to explain it. Well, it seems a bit sentimental for my taste, but, I think I understand where you're coming from. Perhaps I can offer this. You've been more than a faithful bodyguard since we've met, Iris. You've been, well, a friend. It's a strange thing to say, but it's true. You have my thanks. Well, there's something I thought I'd never hear. And would you look at that? I already regret saying it. Incredible. Can't take it back now. I heard what I heard. Just know the feeling's mutual. But yeah. Almost made Monroe even more hateable. Almost for a hot second there. My goodness. What a world. I kind of like Monroe, though. Marin, could you spare a little patience for a nostalgic old friend? I'm afraid you used up your daily quota early this morning. Still sore from that comment I made about your cooking? Do most women let you get away with things like that? No one lets me get away with anything, women least of all. If I've exhausted today's patience, I might just have I might just have to eat into tomorrow's. Very well, since we're friends, what's on your mind? Do you remember that one night we'd both just been kicked out of the Hall of Experimentation for studying too late? I was studying, you were flirting with the mage's attendant. So, we were studying different subjects, but it was a clear night and the stars were out, and you said, look, it's the weaver's thread, and I was born under those stars. That's why I learned to sew. And I never asked if that was all there was to it. Our destinies were just written in the stars before we were even born, and now all we do is follow along like a wheel in a rut. And I said no, and that's the whole point of the weaver's thread, and the hand that wields its needle. We get to choose what we do with it. We get to choose the people we become. Yes, that's exactly what you said. And what about it then?
Joke.
It still seems like a load of wish-wash. How generous. But I'm a lot closer to believing now than I ever was. More than anything, it seems the choices we've made which brought us here. Wait, it's the choices we made which brought us here to this point, I mean. All the more reason to continue making the right ones.
Sure?
I've never been the best at that.
It'll be all right.
No, but you're getting better. It's comforting to hear. Don't get too comfortable. There's still a lot you can work on. No argument there. But I do have to give you credit, Garrick. When the wind picked up, you held your ground. Man, my throat. I got like these random hiccups, sort of, that like, aren't like real hiccups, but you know what I mean. It's just the throat being like, I need to take a break for a hot second and do a thing. You stayed with Irving, with me, with Alden. You helped us weather the storm. I think that was an excellent choice. Well, it's one I plan to continue making, like it or not. I like it. What happened to there's a lot you could work on? Nothing. It's still true. Would you like me to make a list? No, I don't think I would. Well, but yeah. Can't stand stuck-up people? I don't know. Freaking Monroe is also willing to, like, lower his barriers a little bit if that's what he has to do. Maybe it's more so I also have like fun doing the voice for him that I'm doing in this. I may as well get some more stuff. Like, hold on. Let's go into the shop. And then when it comes to weapon tokens, I'll get 1, 2, 3, 4 more. And then, like, go from there is what I'm thinking. So, who wants my first tier 4 token? And where are these other tier 3s going? I mean, I could always, you know, do stuff with this. It's worth a shot. Could maybe do. I mean, could make Bianca more OP. That's what we could do. Upgrade the Carver for CF. She needs it double. There's always an option. Maybe. Let's see here. Who doesn't have the freaking orange yet? Who could actually use it? Orima can use the thing then. Bam, Meteor. And then Garrick here can go ahead. Dwarven Warbow. No one really knows how they managed to fit so much draw weight into such a small bow. Conquest Bow. The weapon of Thorlean's dreaded outriders. Few weapons have led to as much devastation. Good old Conquest Bow, huh? So we can upgrade that one as well. And this is what we do. And then, yeah, maybe the Devastating Surge. Maybe I'll get a couple more. Is what I'll actually do. Boop, boop. So I'm at 11175 now when it comes to the stuff. So upgrades. Let's see here. So then Iris can go ahead and get Ruination. The Peak of Lightning Magic. Little can match up to the spell's destructive capabilities. And then, yeah, we can do a thing for Sophia as well. What if we just make sure that everybody gets an orange, or at least close to it? You won't get an orange yet, Sarah. But yeah. You just do not like them. Well, most people have an orange now. Just 2 don't. And the 2 that don't are mostly like support. So who gets my first tier 4 token? Maybe Irving to get like more crit there and keep on building up his crit and whatnot. Sure, I'll do it. Sure, I'll do it. Achievement unlocked. Say hello to my little friend. Oh, I was under the impression that with tier 4 tokens that, you know, you could do like a second upgrade as well, and then maybe that would be the final thing. But Lucky Stick is like the highest tier thing. You can just bring it up to Lucky Stick +1. So checking that Steam achievement, that's, yep, reach the max level of a single spell/weapon tree. We did the thing. So you can't upgrade that anymore. Interesting. So we maxed out our Lucky Stick. Okay. Okay then, I think now the time has come for us to advance.